Well, good morning. You join me on one of my local waters here on the epic Cotswold Water Park. There are hundreds of lakes here, all back to back, but today we're on this one, and this is a local syndicate for me. There's plenty of fish in here, and although the weather's changed significantly over the last few days, last week was really hot weather, up to 40 degrees nearly, crazy weather really, and the fish were everywhere. I did catch a few from bobbing around the lake and getting them in the edge, but now we've got cloudy weather, there's a slight pressure drop, there's a bit of rain in the air as well, so I'll have to change my tactics. So you're going to follow me over the next 24 hours. Fingers crossed we're going to find a few fish in the edge, but it may all be about the open water swims, who knows. So I'm going to get some bait, prepped into probably this swim. It's a swim I've sat in now for a good hour from this morning, from first light. I've seen 2 or 3 fish show, that's all I've got to go on. I'm probably going to put a couple of little bags out and just fish for them as I see them. If that doesn't work and I haven't caught anything within half an hour, then I'm probably going to get around and have a look around the lake. We've got cars bombing and lorries bombing behind us. We're right next to a road. Everyone's off to work, but I'm going to be off fishing. Well, I'm hastily trying to get a couple of bags set up, which are just going to go out into this area beyond me where I've started, because there's been 2 or 3 fish that have gone over in the last hour. They're usually here for that morning spell and then they drift away as the sun sort of rises. So I'm keen to get this bag out and deployed quickly as possible where I've seen them and they're bubbling. And who knows, it can result in a quick bite, but if it doesn't, then we'll be on our toes and having a look around the lake. But yeah, needs must. I'm going to get this bag out pretty sharpish, using pretty simple tactics really. I'm using some very fine sort of micro pellets, a little matching hook bait wafted so it's basically balanced. That means that when the fish hopefully go and suck the contents of the bag, the hook bait goes up and it doesn't impede in any way buoyancy wise. So it's literally neutral buoyancy. So everything goes up into the mouth. So very simply, yeah, load the bag with pellet. I'll add in a 2-part liquid. One's oil which floats and the other is a sinking food signal. And when you shake the bottle, those 2 liquids get combined and you've got a rising and falling liquid basically, which will pull any fish down from sort of 8-9 foot above. So that's the tactics. And I get this rigged up and get them out there. Well, the rods have been in for probably half an hour, nearly 40 minutes now, and haven't seen any more fish. Although there are fish present, I've seen a couple of movements in the weeds, so there are definitely odd fish here. But I think it's probably best now that I invest a bit of time. I'm going to put a little bare lead out, just have a feel about where these fish have been shown this morning, try and find a couple of nice presentable areas. And it probably pays to put a little bit of bait in here now, get something going, because there'll be fish back in here this afternoon, and probably get off around the lake and see if there's ever another opportunity. But yeah, getting some bait invested now could pay dividends for tonight, because it's perfect for tonight fishing and tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna have a lead about now, get some bait in and then get on my toes. Okay, so I found a really nice area out there, which is in between 2 massive weed beds, which the fish are obviously using. It's a big gravelly, silty area, so perfect ambush point. So bait-wise, I'm going to go in with a little mixture, to be fair. First of all, it's going to be quite a bit of hemp. So the old trusty hemp this time of year as well, particularly, I find a lot of the juvenile snails are about the same size of a grain as hemp. So the fish are definitely used to picking them off. And yeah, not that, you know, hemp's a natural product in terms of aquatic life. It does mimic it very well, particularly that crunch factor. So I'm going to put a bit of hemp in there. We've then got some trusty pellets. The old carp love pellets this time of year. Water temperatures, you know, really, really warm at the moment. Just starting to tail off as we move towards autumn. But this time of year, then sort of high fat is always high on the diet. So I'll give that a little mix in there. Nothing too complicated. And then last thing, the old trusty boilies. In this case, using the Atlantic Heat. Again, it's got a decent fish meal content, decent oil content to it. And for this time of year, again, the fish actually love sort of fish meal and fish meal bait. So I'm going to put a few of them in there, crush a few. But I'm going to be fishing a hook bait the same. So I'm going to fish like a balanced hook bait the same as this. So I want quite a few whole ones in there. I don't want to get them used to just picking up crushed boilies. So a few of them will go in there like that. And then we're going to add some liquids, and liquids massively important all times of the year, but particularly this time of year when we got this situation where we got passing fish. We want to hit those fish with loads of food signals in the water column. And the best way to do that, as always, is to use a heavy sink and dip and then something that floats like an oil. So we've got this is our 𝘃𝗵𝗶𝗀, hugely attractive liquid. This will sink and cloud around the bottom of the swim, and that's great, but you want attraction also coming up through the swim. And if you add in an oil, in this case we've got our hot fish oil, again very attractive, very spicy. We add in a generous amount of oil as well, already to oily hemp. I'm going to give that a mix round. Now those liquids are swimming sort of on top of that, so another nice little trick we can use a products like fish meal. In this case we're using krill powder, and this will just stop those liquids from hitting the water and dispersing straight away. So we mix in some powders as well. That'll start to soak up. Now ideally this mix would have been done the night before, but because we're sort of didn't know how we was going to fish today, didn't know if we're going to be committing to a spot or anything, I've left it for today. So it still can be done. The krill powder will make sure it soak up a lot of those sinking and floating liquids and make sure they get down to the bottom of your baited area. As soon as this hits the bottom, as it all starts to dissolve and breaks down, you get little plinks of oil come up. Some of the oil will be trapped underneath the boilies, underneath the hemp, particularly with the krill powder as well. And what will happen is the oil will want to separate from the liquid, come up to the top, and it'll drag some of those food signals, some of the krill particles will go up through the water. You get a nice flat spot and attraction will come down, and that'll be happening all day long. So I'm going to prep the spot with this bit of bait, then I'm going to have a look around the lake, see if there's any opportunities throughout the day. If not, we can come back to a zone where we know we've got something working. So that's the plan. We give that a little shake up now and get it all spawned out there. So that mix is now going out. And what's really, really important is not only, obviously we've got loads of oils and sinking liquids in there to stop fish as they're passing, as I mentioned, but also those liquids are going to mimic that there's literally 10 or 15 kilos of bait out there, when in actual fact there's only going to be 1.5 kilos. So I'm putting 1.5 kilos in, the attraction of about 10 or 15 kilos. In my experience, the fish just can't resist that. They stop, they go down, they look, there's 1 kilo down there, and you get a bite very quickly. So I'm going to finish getting these out. There's only probably, I don't know, 15 spawns there, but that's enough to pull some fish. Well, that's all the bait out. I think now the rods are in, let's go and see what opportunities there are around the lake. Well, just looking out across the shallows here, if they're here, I can see the bottom. I can see the bottom like 30, 40 yards out. So there's obviously no fish here. When they are here, it's all chocolate and all coloured, but worth a look anyway. But there's an angler down the corner, so I'm going to lead into it and get up and have a little wander up by the islands. Well, this is a usual little favourite area for the fish, but as you can see, the water's gone. They usually come right up in here, and only I don't know, a couple of months ago I was catching fish down here and I caught a lovely linear which was about sort of around the 30-pound mark. Just literally stalking with a little PVA bag, dropped it down and almost watched the fish come in and off it went. But yeah, what a cracker. But now today's a different day, different time of year, and we've got no water. But this is an area, this whole area here is very, very shallow, and as the sun comes up from the corner, as it reaches round, the sun's beating on this area, particularly in the afternoon. So fish are creatures of habit. We may find a few fish creep into this area. Even though the sun's not out, we may find a few fish sneak up into this area later on. So I'm going to bait a couple of areas, but still get around the lake and see what else is about. Well, everything's changed in about a couple of minutes. just walking down to the water's edge here and just thought we could see it as a little bit murky, a bit cloudy compared to what everything else is gin clear. And lo and behold, there's 2 or 3 fish coming through really, really close. Oh, so that's, and the fish just clattered out to the right as well. So there's definitely fish on the shallows already. And I go and get 2 rods, put them out. And yeah, I think there's a good chance here. We've got an old circus not so far away, so you can probably hear a tannoy going off and every now and again. So it's not the most peaceful of locations, but hey ho, the fish are here and so are we. So I'm gonna dump this bucket down and then get the rods. So, it doesn't really change the approach from what I've done this morning. I've got two small hook baits, 2 PVA bags, and I'm literally just gonna go and walk out with my chesters. It's all shallow here, it's all solid ground as well, so it's nice and safe. I'm gonna walk out to where I can see the ridge goes down to slightly deeper water, hopefully see a fish or 2, and just drop bags in where I see the murky water and walk the rods back, lay them on the deck, spools up, and then see what happens. If the fish are here, it's absolutely a great chance of a bite. So yeah, let's get these bags loaded up and get them out of there. That was, yeah, I wasn't prepared for that. Got out there and there was literally a fish just coming through on that clay ridge, just where it goes deeper. So I froze, I don't think it saw me, dropped the bag down on that patrol route and then sneaked my way back. So there's definitely fish about. That didn't take long. Shot off, literally been out there 5 minutes. Don't think it's a particularly big fish, but hey, all's welcome. There's a number of fish we put in from the stock pond a couple of years ago, which are coming through sort of 10-poundish, some are smaller. But hey, this is a fantastic result. Come on, you. Whoa. Well, there we have it. Well, it is one of the small ones, but we introduced a couple of years ago, but you know, very welcome. It's in amongst some bigger fish as well, but we can never choose which one takes the hook bait. But we're getting up to have a quick look at them and then we're getting back. Well, after seeing a good fish out there while I've placed this little bag, this fella's nipped in and grabbed it, and this is one of the fish that we've introduced, as I said, probably a year or 2 ago. So doing well. Obviously the future of the lake, going to be a big fish in a few years' time, but for now, I'm going to get him back and let him carry on hunting out some food. And importantly, I'm going to get that rod back out. Well, I was only talking to Joe earlier, talking about how sometimes the shallow areas here, sometimes the little small fish we put in a couple of years ago, they tend to favour it. And lo and behold, in quick succession, there's 2 bites. And yeah, both of them small fish like this. So this is probably about, I don't know, 8 or 9 pound. You can see he's had an encounter with the pike if I spin him round. Look, discoloration on one side, and you can see there where he's been, whoop, come on mate. You can see where he's been grabbed by a monster pike in here as well, so he's got a story to tell. But we're getting back and have another look round here, but if I keep seeing, the thing is I've seen big fish here as well. When I dropped the bag on the first rod, there was a very, very big fish, which I dropped it on. But these little ones, they're so ravenous, they're in so quick. So we might persevere, might put the rods back out here for another half an hour, see if we can get another better one. If not, we'll get around the lake and see what else is about. Well, I'll give it a best for the best part of what, a couple of hours, 3 hours maybe. And although there's fish coming in and out, there's a lot of the small ones here, and I managed to pick a couple of them up as you've seen. But there are some big ones here, which is just, I've been moving the baits around, moving the bags around, different areas where I've been seeing them. But I think it's probably time to get on our toes and have a look around the rest of the lake and get around. I did see a fish show over not far from where I put all that bait earlier, so that's a really good sign for tonight. So I'm going to crack these rods in and yeah, going to have another look, I think. Well, this usually is a favoured area, nice bit of deep water, but can see down to the bottom in 7 foot, and if they'd been here, the clarity would have gone, and I'd have seen definitely some fish here, but it all looks very quiet this end. Unfortunately, you've got an easterly wind coming up here, which is pretty stale, and it's looking like most of the fish we've seen are on the back of the wind. So with that in mind, still a couple of spots to check on the way back, because you never know. But I think I'll be setting up the rods ready for this evening and getting the baits out early as I can. So yeah, oh well, hunt goes on. So we're now back in the original swim in the car park, the one where I invested some bait. And after doing a lap and not really finding anything else, then the fish have clearly showed up here, because there's fish bubbling and there's a few fish rolling in and around the baited area. So a really, really good sign. So I'm going to waste no time. I'm going to put a PVA bag out with a little hook bait in, straight onto that baited zone at 14 wraps. And I'm going to redo my other rod and put a single bottom bait again on the same sort of zone. So I'm going to get this out pretty sharpish, because there's definitely a few fish here. Well, the activity had stopped over the baited area. I actually think they probably cleared me out of bait. Don't know, I'm not sure. So I've put 2 or 3 more spoms out, but I thought I'd take the opportunity to bring the rods in. And I went over and checked one of the areas that I thought had been visited. There was a bit of clouding going on, but I couldn't be sure if it was birds or not. So I've nipped back over, and lo and behold, I've seen a massive fish come through the margin. So that's too much for me to resist. So I've tied up a little bag, got a little rod. I'm gonna go and poke it through where I've seen it, in between this little channel, drop it in for an hour and see what happens. Got nothing to lose. These are all set up then for the nighttime bite, hopefully, and then early morning, but can't resist going and having a go for that fish, because it was a good one. So I'm gonna grab these, grab a net and get over there. Oh, it'll take too long. Just about thinking about winding this one in. Whoa. Whoa, and this one's tore off. Oh. Still a bit of work to do though, because he's just gone round just the corner, but he's out the weed, which is good. Typical, isn't it? Joe just nipped back to the van to get some more batteries, and it decides to tear off. We thought the chance had gone, but it just goes to show there's 1 or 2 fish about. Just need to get him out of this weed. It's a good fish. Come on, mate, keep coming. Oh. No, it'll be fine, Joe. It'll be right, yeah. God, dear me. Okay. Right. Oh, sorry, thank you. Yeah, I'll step on it. Nice one. Nice fish, scaly one. Oh, come on. Be kind. We got him. Yes. That'll do. Awesome. There we go. It's a nice scaly one. Yeah, wicked. Thank you, carp gods. Not the monster that I saw earlier come through. That was a big, big fish, but hey, we are not worried about that one little bit because that was a beautiful fish. Real nice scaly one. Right, I'll get the mat, get that sorted and get him out. Let's have a look at him before it gets too dark. Wow, look at that. What a lovely, lovely fish. And what a way to go into the evening with a cracker. Beautiful. Must be, I don't know, 21, 22 pound, not going to weigh it. Keen to get the fish back, obviously, being the height of summer. The water is very, very warm, but awesome, yeah. Rod in the right spot for literally, I don't know, an hour, and off it rattles. Yeah, very, very, very happy. Thank you, Mr. Carp. Mwah. Well, we're back in the swim. The light is fading very, very quickly. So I'm going to get my rods, get them all wrapped, get them back out onto the 2 spots where I saw fish earlier and keep your fingers crossed for the night, hoping that's going to do a bite. But the fish were here earlier and they reckon they cleaned me out. So hopefully they're going to come back during the night, early morning, fingers crossed. So the light's going. Better get this one out. Quick shot. We got him. Jesus Christ. Well, there we go. This little fella run me ragged out there. Got stuck in the weed, gone through my other rod, but hey ho. It's another one of the little ones plaguing me on this trip, but you know, I won't be saying that in a few years' time when this is pushing through at 30 pounds. But we'll let this one go, get this one back. Thanks, fella. Right, now to untangle this mess and get these rods back out on the zone. Whew. Well, there we go. The result of quite a frantic night in the end. They ended up with, I think, 3 or 4 small fish. And then this one came just on first light. So I thought I'd retain it for half an hour until the light's up and just show you, take a couple of snaps. Not a massive fish again, but been a bit unlucky, I think, with that, catching 6 fish now. And we need only the one that went over 20 pounds, but never mind. It's great to get bites, real good fun. We've got a few hours left, so you never know. The rods are out. We've got, you know, into prime time for bite time. Hopefully there's 1 or 2 still lurking about, and hopefully it's a big one as well. So we shall see. Well, that comes to the end of a very enjoyable 24 hours. And if you'd have said to me at the start, you can have 6 fish, I would have absolutely snapped your hand off. The lake hasn't been fishing that great. And to have 6 bites, and unfortunately 5 of them being quite small, I count myself very, very unlucky. But anyway, we did have a lovely scaly 20 pounder, which was amazing to catch it on yesterday evening. And I know what swims in here. I've caught plenty of fish in the summer, doing the same sort of tactics, just going around, stalking, catching some beautiful scaly carp and some plain ones. There's all sorts in here. And yeah, I vow to be back. But I hope you enjoyed the 24 hours. I'm gonna get back to the real world, got to get back to the missus and work, and maybe see you on the next one.